Located on the east coast of Africa, the country of Somalia is surrounded by the Indian Ocean to the east, the Gulf of Aden to the north, and the countries of Djibouti, Ethiopia, and Kenya. The unique shape of the land formation of this region of the continent has caused geographers to call the area, including the countries to the west, the Horn of Africa. Somalia has the longest coastline of all of the countries in Africa's mainland, 3,333 kilometers in all. Archaeologists report evidence of occupation in this region dating back thousands of years. Ancient records show that the port cities of Somalia were important commercial trading centers throughout the Middle Ages. Unlike many other African nations, Somalia is made up of primarily just one ethnic group. The people share a common heritage, culture, language, and religion. Yet, with all of these things in common, Somalia has suffered much conflict. The people of Somalia have a long tradition of being organized into strong social units called clans. Each of the major clans that inhabit the country are further divided into sub-clans and extended families. Clan affiliations run deep and help account for the amazing resilience of the people during hard times. Whenever one member of a clan suffers the loss of animals or is short of water or food, they can rely on the support and shelter of other members of their clan. If a clan member is in danger of attack from a rival group, they can count on the protection of their clan. Unfortunately, this has often led to one clan fighting against another. This has led to many protracted conflicts throughout the history of the nation. In the mid-19th century, Somalia fell under colonial powers, with the French capturing the region now known as Djibouti, the British seizing control of the northern region of the country, forming British Somaliland, and the remaining part of the country becoming Italian Somaliland under Italian rule. During World War II, the British took over the administration of Italian Somaliland until it became a United Nations trusteeship in 1949. In 1960, Somalia became an independent nation, and the two regions of the country were united into one. Somalia struggled to develop a democratic-style government for almost 10 years before the military, led by Mohammed Said Barre, took control of the country in 1969. Barre attempted to unite all of the various Somali clans into one united modern society under what he called scientific socialism, which was based on a mixture of the teachings of Marxism and the Islamic sacred texts of the Quran. After years of human rights abuse and clashing with clan leaders, Barre was finally forced out of power in 1991. Unfortunately, clan leaders could not agree on who should take over government leadership and continued to fight for power. The country of Somalia fell into civil war. The violence and chaos that followed caused many people to flee the country to live in refugee camps set up in surrounding countries. Those that stayed faced the threat of starvation and death. During times of famine and drought, food was used as a tactic of war. Some estimates put the death toll at over 1 million. Without any central government, Somalia has been declared a failed state, and people have returned to localized law structures that follow old traditions and religious regulations. During these years of lawlessness, warlords ruled their regions with bombs, bullets, fear, and terror. During this time, because of poverty and the lack of job opportunities, some in Somalia turned to modern-day piracy, holding ships that passed by their coastline hostage for multi-million-dollar payouts. Norway was among the countries supporting the international efforts to fight piracy, resulting in the decline in piracy over the last few years. Many people from Somalia left the country seeking a better future, safety, and work. Today, the Somali community in Norway is one of the biggest groups of immigrants we have, and the amount of money they earn and send home to their families in Somalia is significant and a great help to the ones receiving. The government in Norway is also supporting the people of Somalia through NORAD. In 2014, 425 million Norwegian kroner were used to support the development of the country. Somalia's most recent troubles come from extremist insurgents who use acts of terror to instill fear and control over the people. The fiercest fighting has taken place in the south, especially around the capital city of Mogadishu. Because of this, many people have fled the south to the relative peace of the northern regions of Puntland and Somaliland. While its borders are in dispute, the Puntland state of Somalia is currently home to about 1/3 of the nation's 10 million population. While it does not seek outright independence from Somalia, its leaders declared the territory as an autonomous region in 1998, meaning partly independent. Somaliland comprises much of the same region of the former British-controlled area of the country. After the fall of the Bari government in 1991, the leaders of Somaliland declared this section of Somalia to be an independent nation, but to this day have never been recognized as such by other countries. The world still sees Somaliland as an autonomous region of Somalia. About 3.5 million people live in this part of the country. New regional administrations have been established in south-central Somalia, in line with the Constitution, which prescribes federal states. Islam is the religion in Somalia, and most people are Sunni Muslims. This is visible in how people live their lives with prayers, how they, especially women, dress, what they eat, their family lives, and lifestyle in general. Calls to prayer are heard 6 times a day. A great majority of the people of Somalia have traditionally been nomadic herders, raising camels, sheep, and goats. Those living along the seacoast make a living by fishing, while others, living in the inner plateaus, have established farms for their livelihood.
xoolo fiican baanu lahayn 3 tiro ariya geel fiican awr waxaasan haysan.
Since 1972, the main official language of the country has been Somali. While the language has had a number of different writing systems developed for it over the years, including some that used an Arabic script, a standardized form was established in recent years using the Latin language alphabet. This is what is now officially taught in schools. The Somali language is related to other languages spoken in the Horn of Africa and includes words borrowed from Arabic, English, and Italian. If you were growing up in Somalia, there's a good chance that you would also learn Arabic, another official language of the country. This would help you become a leader in the community, as it would give you the ability to communicate with business people from other Arab nations. It would also connect you with the widespread media, music, news, and culture of the Arab world, and give you the ability to pursue history and religious studies in the predominant Muslim society of Somalia. Because Somalia is close to the equator, there is no real change of seasons. Average temperatures run between 30 to 40 degrees Celsius. Great portions of the country have been considered semi-arid for centuries and have been well suited for a culture that raises grazing animals. However, in recent decades, forces of global climate change, deforestation, overgrazing, and periods of drought have all combined to cause rapid desertification. A shortage of water and vegetation have caused a huge loss of animal and human life. In 2011, a severe drought caused over 1 million people to abandon their life of herding and seek shelter in refugee camps in Kenya or in the towns and villages of their clan members.
We are nomadic herders. We had 4 camels and 80 goats. We had 4 children. Because of the drought, we lost all of our animals. 2 of our children died. There was nothing left for us to do. We came here, to this village of our relatives, so that we would not lose our 2 remaining children. The people here have helped us. They have provided this place to put up our shelter, and have given us food to eat. There is water here, and they have shared with us.
Because of the drought, all of our animals died. Now we live in the shelter of our clan. I really don't know what we will do after the rains come again. In the past, when something like this would happen to one of our relatives, the clan would join together to help people start over with a few goats. This time, the drought is so bad that most of my relatives have also lost all of their animals.
Since the drought of 2011, some rains have returned, but times are still difficult, especially during the dry seasons. When the ponds and reservoirs dry up, many villagers have no choice but to buy water, sold by the water vendors, or delivered by water trucks. The more kilometers the trucks have to drive, the higher the cost of the water. In many cases, the cost of water alone takes up a great percentage of a family's income. When communities are providing refuge for hundreds of internally displaced people because of drought or conflict, the financial pressure on a community simply to provide water can be very great. ADRA Norway has helped many communities in Somalia become water secure by the drilling of deep boreholes. Some of these projects date back to 2001. Programs Director for ADRA Somalia, Minyu Magambi, describes just how the local people feel about this life-saving help that has come from ADRA.
And the system is still operational, serving the needs. Actually, the joke is, when you go to the district and you ask for water, they ask for, give me a glass of ADRA, not a glass of water. That is clear testimony that people do appreciate what we do.
Growing up in Somalia can be challenging for children. Because of the shortage of food and water, along with conflicts and lack of security, many children suffer from hunger, disease, and malnutrition. Over 1/2 of the children of Somalia live in poverty and have to work every day in order to provide for themselves and their families. Some are only able to eat once a day. Even for children who are living in families that make a little more income, getting an education can still be difficult. Due to a lack of schools, trained teachers, textbooks, standardized courses, and educational resources, millions of children in Somalia grow up uneducated. Only about 30% of children living in Somalia are able to go to school. Girls are less likely to attend than boys. If they are able to go, they might start school late and may have to drop out in grade 4 or 5 to get ready to be married. In larger communities where there are more schools, classes are large and learning is difficult. Only about 25% of adults are able to read and write. In January of 2015, Somalia signed an agreement to accept the provisions of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. This important convention, first promoted by the General Assembly of the United Nations in 1989, seeks to establish safe environments where children are respected and can reach their full potential. It insists that children be viewed and treated as human beings with a distinct set of rights, rather than the property of parents, businesses, or the state. The Convention states, among other things, that children are to be protected from all forms of violence and provided with clean, safe environments that includes safe drinking water, nutritious food, quality health care, and free primary education. The promise to provide education for its young people is a challenge for many countries to keep, including Somalia, and yet it is so important on the road to a future of peace and stability for the nation. Good educational systems are recognized by experts around the world as vital to a future of peace for any nation. As young citizens participate in structured learning environments of a well-crafted curriculum, they learn the importance of respecting the rights of others and developing attitudes of peace towards people of other religions, cultures, ethnicity, and clans. In the last 10 years, the contribution of outside donors to the education sector in Somalia has resulted in significant progress to the rehabilitation of the educational system. However, the challenges of access, equity, quality, and management still exist in all regions of Somalia. ADRA Norway is dedicated to the belief that education is an important key that opens doors to peace and is working to promote education for all children, especially girls, in some of the most difficult regions of our world. High-quality, appropriate education opens the minds of young people to new possibilities, new direction. It gives the hungry new ways to grow better crops. It gives the poor new ways to support their families. It helps prevent modern-day slavery. It makes children less susceptible to fall victim to philosophies of hate. Education breeds new hope for a future of peace and prosperity. In Somalia, ADRA works in collaboration with the government for peace by establishing schools, training teachers, building toilets, and hand-washing facilities. In some places where there is no water, ADRA Norway is working with ADRA Somalia as they help communities get the water that they need to get them through the dry season. Water is pumped up from a deep borehole to a large storage tank, which then feeds water points throughout the village. The water not only saves lives, it makes it so much easier for children to go to school.
Education is not complete unless you are also able to provide good sanitation practices. We do provide wash facilities. In all the schools that we construct, we provide separate ablution blocks for girls and boys so that girls are not constrained to use them because of the fear of sharing facilities with boys. So wash is an important investment in education as well.
While the students take their lessons, ADRA teaches mothers skills that will help them bring in new income to support their families. Youth are engaged in vocational skills training in order to help them get employment or establish their own businesses.
Currently, youth unemployment in Somalia starts at over 40%. And that is a very big threat to the peace in the country. Because when you have unemployed youth who are not able to earn their own livelihood, the possibility or the temptation to be engaged by other groups with other objectives is very high. And therefore, one of the key things that we considered under this program is how we can help youth to get back into employment.
Dagan was a refugee in her own country. She was born in the southern region of Somalia. When she was 17, the violence of the civil war became so bad that she had to flee for her life. She traveled north to Puntland.
When I first arrived, I worked as a maid, cleaning and cooking for others. Then I heard about the ADRA Training Center, where girls like myself could continue their education. In addition to regular classes, ADRA taught me how to sew and make beautiful dresses using a tie-dye process. This skill has changed my life. I now have my own shop in the market where I make and sell clothes. It is going so well I have 2 people working for me. With the money that I am making at the shop, I am able to cover the living expenses of my family and send my 5 children to school. I don't know what we would have done without ADRA.
One of Dagan's daughters is Shagri. Shagri is 13 years old. Being the oldest of the children, Shagri helps her mother make breakfast for the family. As we visited her home, Shagri told us about a typical day for her.
In the morning, I wake up quite early and help my mother prepare breakfast for the family. Some days, Mother will send me to the market to get some fruit and other items. After we have finished eating breakfast, my brothers and sisters and I go to school. I am in grade 5. My friends and I are learning a lot at our school. My favorite subjects are Arabic and religion. We study until noon and then come home and eat lunch. In the afternoon, I sometimes will go and help my mother at her shop in the market. She is a tailor and makes beautiful clothes, especially dresses for the women in our town. My mom says that ADRA has helped us a lot. If it had not been for the things that she learned at the center and school that ADRA has in our town, we would not have been able to open our own shop or make the kind of money that we need for us kids to go to school.
Shagri and many other kids like her in the Horn of Africa are able to go to school and learn how to have a better future because of the help that they are getting from ADRA. Right now in Somalia, ADRA is building more schools or repairing old schools that were damaged in the war. ADRA is also educating teachers to help them become better teachers. ADRA also works with parents and village leaders to help them realize the importance of education. They learn that sending their kids to school gives them hope for a better future of peace and happiness.
It is God who provides everything, but I am really thankful for what ADRA has done to help us. I am so grateful that I now also teach at the ADRA Center, helping other girls the way that ADRA has helped me. Thank you, ADRA.
Education is a very important driver of development in a country that has experienced nothing else but conflict the last 22 years. In the absence of education, then people do not have the capacity to take advantage of the existing resources to create employment or to make their lives better. So in providing education in Somalia through the partnership we have with ADRA Norway, we are not just interested in getting kids to school per se, but we are also interested in the long-term impact that education has in the life of the entire country. Investment in education is very significant in stabilizing and ensuring the construction of the country. Yes.
As Somalia enters a new phase of history, there are many challenges ahead. People will need to adapt to new climate realities, new methods of income, environmental protection, and new attitudes of tolerance, peace, and acceptance. Creating educational opportunities for all children in the nation is an important first step towards lasting peace in Somalia.